What's up, good people? What's up, good people? Welcome to the show. We are back in here, back in the building, once again, making it happen again. On this Saturday, we will be joined by the King of Zamunda. Not just playing. We'll be joined by Ike, Big Ike in the building. So strap on in. You know what time it is. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. I just sent him the link. Ike, I saw you asking about the link in the chat. I sent you the link just recently. I sent it right at 9:05 when the show was supposed to start. So there it is. There it is, and we in here. Let's go.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What's up, good people? We back in the building. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Let's get this thing started. I see Ike is down in the back chat, ready to come on up. About to get this thing going. Shout out to those that made it in bright and early. The early bird squad, as I call them. Omega Dreads Gaming Channel in the building. Shout out to you. He said centuries ago, yes. Now, not so much. Interesting take. Goodman says, finally, a sane guest on this show. But how sane is he for coming here? That's the question. Titan in the building. What's up? Salute to you. Mr. Negative Man says delete this. I have no idea what he's talking about, but that's my guy. I like Mr. Negative Man. Always shout out my day ones. He was here long before I even started live streaming. Rock O Killer 7 in the building says, what's poppin'? Mr. Majestic says, typo in the title. Yes, I thought long and hard about that. I did some research on Google, and I came to the conclusion that, yes, you are right. It was supposed to be T-O-O instead of T-O. Yes, you are right. I even consulted my fourth grade English teacher, and she confirmed you are right, and so that's what we're going with. I changed the title, and that's what we're going with. That's definitely what we're going with. We're going with T-O-O. T-O-O. Stoic One in the building says, blessings BR in chat. Omega Dreads, shout out to you. See the God in the building. Daryl L says, peace to the chat. And BR and Jada LaRue says, welcome to the Grown Man Hour with Bernard Riley. Like, share, subscribe with the bell. I appreciate you posting that right there. I'm no fan of the King. having the crown right there. I understand it's a nice sentiment, but that thing that black people overuse when calling the guys kings and the women queens, and no big fan of that for reasons that I will explain later on. I might talk to Ike about that. He's an actual prince of Zamunda, Wakanda, and Pride Rock. Okay. But yeah, let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to go. Without further ado, let's bring in the man of, oh wait, hold on. He says donation to both of you guys. Shout out to Red Sings the Blues. We've been promoting it all week. I'm going to be over at Red Sings the Blues channel at 2:00. Make sure you be there. Make sure you check that out. I'll be sharing it in my community tab. Make sure you hop on over there to Red Sings the Blues channel. But without further ado, the man of the hour is in the building. The one and only Ike Ogiamien is in the building. Why you laughing already? You laughing about the Pride Rock joke?
I'm laughing about everything. How's it going, Bernard?
It's going
How is it
great.
going?
It's going
I'm laughing
great.
about the fact that I'm holding my Rode microphone. It's like,
yeah, what's up with that? That's your performance mic when you're singing or something.
it's crazy. I'm laughing at the topic as well. I know that we're gonna have fun with it. So it's all around good times. It's all around good times.
Yeah, this topic, you actually you came up with this topic. I wanted to chop it up with you again. I couldn't think of for what, and then you came up with this topic. Now
I gave you a couple of options. You chose it, or you can't put it all on me now.
Oh no, I love the topic. I love it.
Okay.
I do love it, the topic. And the other thing that you put in there, I mean, maybe I need to reread the email. I saw two things you put in there, and they kind of segue into each other. Is that a fair?
Yeah, but yeah, but then I also talked about, like, we could just go sales, influencing, persuasion type stuff, like sales 101. But then that's a totally different lane altogether. But don't worry about that. Maybe you didn't see that part because you got caught up in the shiny object.
Yeah, I did get caught up in the shiny object, but whenever me and you, well, the last one-on-one me and you did, we transitioned into we started out talking about women, and then we transitioned into the other thing, and they kind of connected in some type of way. So that was what I saw when I looked at it, but I probably need to read it again. I probably missed some of your intent, but the topic that we definitely started out with, a topic that that's near and dear to the manosphere, is the subject of women and whether or not men are expecting too much from women. That's a good topic. That's a good topic. I'm interested in that. I'm interested to hear what you have to say on that. And this is very unprofessional. I kind of got a little slight snack over here, so feel free to be long-winded. I'm going to be eating a little bit on the air, so be long-winded as possible. Trying to get my breakfast in. So hold on real quick before we get going. Genuine Trucker Tony says, "Good morning, brothers. Salute to you. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. Appreciate you coming through with that super chat. But what exactly? I mean, let's go ahead and start off with this one. What prompted you with this one?"
Well, I really wanted to have a conversation, and we are going to have a conversation, right? So it's really about, well, is it possible, or what are the different ways in which you can expect, okay? And you can start eating. You can start eating. What are the different ways in which you could expect too much from something? And I would like to touch upon one aspect, and then we can kind of open up. You let me know what you think about it, and so on and so forth. So let's just say that you like cats. You like dogs, and I'm over here in Ghana, by the way. That's why the background is different, and so on and so forth. Yeah. I'm over here in the West Africa base. I was in Addis Ababa about a week ago, but I'm now in Ghana, Accra, ladies and gentlemen. So, what are the different ways in which you could expect too much of something? I'm talking about it in this particular way, which is you like cats, you like dogs, okay? Maybe you like your son as well. You like your human child, but you also like goldfish, okay? The way in which I'm talking about expecting too much from something is if you start to Now, you like these things, okay? You like them for what they are. You like them for quote unquote what they bring to the table. But
I like that. I see what you did there. I see what you did. And by the way, I hate that question. What do you bring to the table?
it's strange.
Okay,
It's
anyway.
strange.
Yeah.
So the point is, though, if you start expecting your goldfish, okay, to go out on walks in the park with you like your dog, if you say, why can't you be more like the dog? Okay. And if you start judging the goldfish based on what the dog does, what the cat does, or also what your human child does and what they are good for, this is the manner in which I'm talking about, or I wish to explore, right? The expecting too much. Look, goldfish are good for certain things. You may say, hey, goldfish, don't eat too much plankton, right? Be a good goldfish. And it's like, so it's not about a goldfish being a good goldfish. We all know that we know what a good dog is like, but we don't expect it to be a cat. We don't expect the cat to be a dog, right? This is a good cat in this particular category. I don't expect it to be like my dog. I don't expect my goldfish to start barking at intruders, for example. Why can't you be like Rex? Rex protects me, that kind of stuff. Why can't you ride a bicycle, goldfish? Why don't you play catch in the park, goldfish? Right? Well, why, all those kinds of things. So this is the particular way in which, in other words, if you're making a category error, to my philosophy friends out there, it's a category error type of expecting too much. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying, hey, this is a human being, therefore I expect them to be a good human being. I say, no, you're expecting too much. It's like, no. But if you're expecting the human being to be a gorilla, that's the way in which you can be making, that's the kind of error that I would like to talk about. And is it strange that men would make this kind of a mistake? No, because we're not women. Right? So it's not like, oh, well, but that's ridiculous. Why would you be? In other words, it's not crazy that this kind of error actually takes place. Well, first of all, would you agree that this kind of category error is possible and, as a matter of fact, frequently happens?
Yes, it's possible, but I do got to try to tease out a few things. I know we're going to get into. I already got a lot of probing questions to ask on this one, because when it comes to men and women, some people will set the bar in a place to where the woman will end up having no human accountability. You see, so you can't hold a human accountable to like you mentioned gorillas. Okay, to be able to climb a tree like a gorilla or swing from limb to limb like a chimpanzee. You can't hold them accountable to that. But there are basic human things that a woman should be held accountable for, especially in an egalitarian, free country where they have all the rights, liberties, freedoms, pursuit of happiness, and everything that an adult human with an adult human brain is expected to go out there and do. So there are so that the word expect that's in the title. Are men expecting too much from women? Okay, I don't expect a woman to have a provider mentality. I don't expect a woman to like I'll give a recent example. Well, I'm coaching basketball. But before I just started, I actually got to coach a game when we get off of here. But my son, he was playing for the school, and the last game we were at, to put it bold and blunt, he was kind of playing like a punk. I mean, his head was in the game. He just was out there. He was kind of moping. I was like, "What the hell? Are you sick? What's wrong with you?" So I gave him got in his grill, gave him a Rocky speech, and get your head in the game. You're out here, and and it was pretty rough. I think I called him something. Like, what the hell are you doing? Man up. And his mom, after I felt like I told him everything he needed to go out there and take over the universe, his mom and me and my ex-wife, we typically don't sit next to each other when we end up at one of our son's games, but it just so happened this game we were sitting next to each other. So after I gave a Rocky speech, right after I was done talking to him, she said something to him that completely killed all the momentum. I was like, it was something that a mother would say. So I don't expect her to be able to deliver in that way that I did when he was just out there, not manning up. I don't know what was wrong with him. I don't know if it was a bad call that took him out of his game, that had him out there playing with his head down. Like, I don't know what it was, but I said what needed to be said to him. And she said and after I got done, she said the most counterproductive thing possible. And I don't expect her to do that. So I understand that when dealing with a woman while managing and dealing with my son, I understand that I have to account for her, for lack of a better word, womanly input. I understand that I have to account for that. So I don't expect her to be me in that way. I mean, I don't expect her to. I'm not expecting her. I expect her to be a woman in that sense, if you understand what I'm saying.
I see.
But there are some things, and this is where it gets tricky, and this is where people start gaslighting in these conversations, where they say, "Oh, well, the woman, she's just a woman. A man is supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to lead. You're supposed to guide. You're supposed to this. You're supposed to that." And well, hold on. If she's in my house, if she's under my control, and as long as she's in my house, that's one thing. But women in general in society, that's a different thing, because they're free with their own life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and they're going to do what they're going to do. And they're even in many cases, they're going to try to do what they want to do while they're in your house, and then they will end up no longer in your house. So that's where I'm at with that. That's the baseline sum up that I can give with that.
100%. So one thing that you mentioned was accountability, right? Now, and you guys should be spamming the chat with my channel, ladies and gentlemen. But anyone who knows me and knows anyone who knows me, knows my content, knows, look, I'm the king of accountability. Okay, I don't like I'm disgusted by bullshit. I'm disgusted by not. Look, I'm saying, look, go out there, work, go out there, be responsible. I don't want to hear your nonsense. Okay, it's a world of nature out there, so on and so forth. So accountability is folded into this whole thing. So when you say men should lead and so on and so forth, just like a employer, a CEO should lead. But does it mean he's just leading a bunch of idiots in the company that don't know their role and don't know? It's like, no. You kick those MFers out. You bring in people, but they're still subordinate, and you don't expect them to take the risks that you do as a CEO, right? You don't expect them to take that level of responsibility that you will as a CEO, right? Your name is on the dotted line. Let's say you're the president of the company, but you expect them to toe their line. That's why I go back to that analogy again. You expect the goldfish to be a good goldfish, but you don't expect it to be a dog. And an important aspect of what we're talking about, and then we'll get into like actual nitty gritties and stop talking on this analogy and general way, right? An important aspect of what I'm trying to get at here is how the man actually feels about it. What I'm saying is this: when you start getting angry at the goldfish for being a goldfish, that's when you've missed the way. That's what I'm trying to say here. It's like, you don't be angry at the goldfish. You're the one that likes goldfish. You don't have to like goldfish, okay? No one is forcing you to like goldfish. You like goldfish because it is goldfish, not because it's a cat, not because it's a dog, not because it's your son. You like it because it's goldfish. Don't start getting mad at, stupid goldfish always just staying in the bowl. Stupid goldfish always breathing the air. Why can't you just come out here and breathe air? That kind of a thing, right? So let's take an example, right? Let's say emotions, right? This is just a basic one. And again, men, generally speaking, and okay, this is your channel, so I know that there's certain things that don't have to be said, but I'm just going to have to say that obviously we're talking about the middle of the bell curve, right? You know that thing that, we always got to like repeat that, because people are like, how about this and how about that? And maybe people who watch this later, it's like, we are talking about the typical woman and then the typical man. The typical woman is more emotional than the typical man, okay? So now you actually like them. This is a characteristic of this thing that you like, right? It is not this other. You like dogs too, but you don't want them to become goldfish. So let's just take emotions, right? So one aspect of emotions is that, look, it's not about quantifying things. It's about how she feels. So let's say, for example, she's like, oh, you're not giving me enough attention, right? And you know that, let's say it's compliments. You know that yesterday, okay, you gave her like 17,000 compliments, okay? And the wrong thing for you to do, there are like many ways to go wrong. There's so many ways to go wrong, right? And there's only one way to go right, okay? One wrong thing to do is to start being like, oh, but I gave you 17 compliments yesterday, and that meets your monthly quota of 72 or whatever, blah, blah, blah. That kind of nonsense, right? It's like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how many or what. It's quantities, quantifying, and all that kind of crap doesn't matter. Another wrong thing to do is to start simping, okay? And actually come through like, oh, let me give you this attention now. Let me compliment you. And it's like, wrong. The right thing to do, and there are books written about the different tactics to take, and it's about your personality. I prefer the kind of demonstrating absurdity with absurdity thing. Kind of like, oh, I haven't complimented you. Oh, queen, goddess, mother of the earth. Books have been written about, oh, your hair, it's a crown, blah, blah, blah. And then immediately change the subject. In other words, I do the absurdity. And by the way, did you pick up the drugs from the CVS pharmacy? Oh, and by the way, you get that kind of a thing, right? Some people also do the humor thing or whatever. But in other words, you don't address it. Number one, you expect it. Don't get angry that she's asking for attention or compliments when you just gave her 17. It's not about the fact that you gave her 17. It's how she feels. Okay? So those logical things are going to be filtered through the emotion. Just like saying, hey, goldfish, why are you always breathing oxygen that's filtered through the water? Okay? Why don't you come out here and breathe clean, fresh, oxygen that's in the air with the rest of this nitrogen and so on and so forth? It's easier. We don't have to deal with this wet, crazy stuff all the time. It's like, no, goldfish breathe oxygen filtered through water. She will filter her logic through her emotions. It doesn't matter how many compliments you give to her yesterday. And remember, I'm not saying, so there's many ways to go wrong. One way to go wrong is to start saying, but let's start counting things and let's start looking at what actually happened. It's like, you and I know, because we have experience with women, that's just a way of wasting your energy, right? Doesn't matter. There is no kind of real logical reality as to what she's feeling right now. It's a feeling. Then number two, you can't go simping and trying to give her what she's saying she wants, because that's just another losing game. What you do is you say, oh, queen, goddess, mother of the earth, by the way, did you get this stuff? Immediately switch the subject, immediately deal with it the way as you know what it is. Right? Yeah. As if you are an actual man that does what men do. In other words, I'm not going to go into that area over there. I'm over here breathing air, right? You can breathe your oxygen filtered through the water. So I don't know. What are your reactions to that?
I like it. Before I get into that, let's see. Snuggles in the building, Snuggle668 says, I am sitting waiting for the information that is about to be disseminated from above, and I wonder if I am worthy of this information. Thank you for the super chat, Snuggles. Appreciate you. Omega Darius Gaming Channel says, before I trick it off. You gonna trick it off either way. We already know that. He Snuggles back in the building. He says, Ike, how are women treated where you come from, if you don't mind me asking? I think you get that question a lot.
I see.
Here. Yeah, you can go ahead and answer that one right now.
It's an interesting thing when you say how are women treated. Well, one thing is about how do women tend to understand themselves in places that are more closer to nature. It basically means that they understand that what they are. In other words, it means that a woman knows that she is emotional, and it's like, fine, she doesn't expect you to, she doesn't even want you to take on all that emotional. The worst thing you can do, for example, in that situation is to simp in the eyes of an African woman, for example. In the eyes of an African woman, while she's asking for this attention, right? The worst thing you can do is to go, oh, let me go and give you all this. Like, that's the worst thing. Because now, some of us with our logic here might be thinking, well, then why are you asking for it if you don't want it? It's like, don't you understand how emotions work? Haven't you ever felt an emotion in your life? It is not about quantity or logic or all these things. It is just a feeling. It comes up and it then gets expressed by a woman in the way in which a man will not express it. We might suppress it. We might do emotional violence, as I call it, to ourselves, keep things away, partition things like that. So to answer the question, basically, women understand that they are women. Okay, they understand, quote unquote, how they are, and they understand how men are, and they expect certain things of you. But it is not a question of them not having their sphere or being oppressed and so on and so forth. Like no, I come from a family, like my grandparents on both sides were polygamous. Okay, this one, on my father's side, he had probably like 4 women underneath this one roof. Right, my great grandfather had like 11 wives. Right, but the point is, they had their sphere. Okay, when it comes to especially like things about like selling and buying and so on and so forth in West Africa, that tends to be handled by women. Okay, so you go to the markets, that's women that do that kind of stuff. Men are in the farm, generally speaking, if you go traditional way. Women are in the markets. In other words, they have their sphere where they have their power, where they handle things. When it comes to a lot of things about, let's say, social affairs and that kind of stuff, the outward facing aspect of, the family and bringing the community together and all that kind of stuff, that's their sphere. Men do their thing in the farm or in the politics and so on and so forth. And these two things, when they have to meet, there's a protocol as to how the man, interfaces with the woman and the woman interfaces with the man. So that's what I would have to say. Number one, that they do understand. They're more, and it's very comforting to deal with a woman that knows she's a woman, likes that she's a woman. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm gonna just do my fuckery. And it's cool. You believe me, it's a whole lot better than someone who does the fuckery on the one side out of their mouth, be like, I want to control everything, but I also want to look up to you. But oh no, you're trying to control me because it's like, which do you want? Okay, I want to look up to this man, but still I want to try to control him at the same time. That's just BS. You know what I mean? So that's the answer, Snuggles' question. And then you can comment on what I said earlier about about her emotional reactions and how you basically are like, okay, look, you simply sidestep it. You use the absurdity method. You use the whole, Rollo Tomasi wrote a whole book about it. And also Donovan Sharp has a book about it and so on and so forth. So yeah.
What I tend to do in that situation, and this could be right or wrong, I like to, this actually happens with my woman right now. I have a tendency to just logically pick her apart, sort of like how I will logically interrogate somebody's position on here. So if she's saying something that's not making any sense, and I know she's, on some emotional BS, it's sort of just part of my, I probably need to change it to some degree, but not really, because I will logically break down what's wrong with what she's saying. I will logically get down in the mud.
You're taking the father approach. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, not like we arguing and fighting, but I will break down exactly what's wrong, where she's going wrong, why that logically does not make sense. You got the foundation of what you're saying is built on quicksand. So let me let me lay down a firm foundation. Okay, now I'll try to build up from there and see. Okay, you only made it to the first floor. You was trying to build a 100-story building. Once I got the foundation right, you can't even get 3 floors up. So that tends to be what I try to do. And you see, I already see the effery right there. M. Stewart says, mansplaining. She tunes you out. No, she doesn't. Hold on, wait. No, she doesn't.
Let me ask you this though. Now that you've done that thing, do you expect her to not come? It may not be in the same approach. Okay, she may not come trying to build the same exact kind of house. Okay, but do you expect her to not come back again? Okay, this is my contention, which is you should expect her to come back again and still try to build that same kind of shaky foundation kind of house, right? It doesn't mean that, oh, I've laid it out now, you can no longer come over here, right? What do you say to that?
Well, before I even get into that, I do want to make sure that I when me and her do that, the conversation is productive. It's not a situation where I'm just talking blah 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 blah, and then she just sat in the corner like a kid and tuned me out. No, it's a logical interrogation, and she will come to the logical understanding of what's being said. But if she still wants to hold on to whatever it is that she initially was saying, what will end up happening? What will end up happening is sometimes she might get sad. She might get just a little frustrated, a little perturbed, or just a little bit. And then but it's like a realizing that okay, she's been logically defeated. She's logically on quicksand, and then she understands that, and then she gets upset, and then but her upset isn't like typical crazy American black woman upset. Her upset is like just like a sad, it ends up turning into this. Her laying her head on my shoulder and kind of emotional and it's more like I just want to be heard now. It's like she understands that I'm right. She just wants to get her emotions off her chest. And then at that point, once I understand that she understands that I'm right, it's like, okay, go ahead and get it out. Okay. All right. Okay. Yep. Pat her on it. I see. Mm-hmm. But she understands who was right and who was wrong, what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And then it's basically she just retreats back to her emotions because that's all it really was. And so that's where I end up with it. So I have a serious need to make sense, for things to be logical, to be rational. And if she brings some illogical, irrational stuff to me, and keep in mind, I'm not talking about wild, erratic behavior. I'm not talking about that kind of fuckery. I'm just talking about just the thoughts in her head coming out through her emotions. Yes, I do take the time to put the necessary logic in place. But I do understand that she is a woman and she does have a need to be emotional. And I will let her have that after the logical argument is won. And then I will let her go ahead and get her emotional release on it. That's where I'm at with it. You had another question that you were trying to
I was saying, if we go back to the framework that we laid out, which was that an important part of this is to not be upset, right, that goldfish don't come out to the park, right? So are you, number one, going to expect that, I've laid it out logically, so therefore it's never going to happen again, and if it happens again, now I'm upset. Now it's like, what? All these women, it's like, no, you should expect, right, that she's going to come back with some more emotional needs, perhaps even of the same particular kind of thing. And you can't go back and say, just like I said before, like if it's an attention thing where it's like, but I gave you 17 compliments, didn't you just notice? It's like, you're just wasting your time trying to do that kind of thing. But anyways, what do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I do. And I've learned this observing her, that some of it she will come back. And it's almost like she makes an attempt at being more logical when she comes back. She tries to reshuffle the chairs around, reposition a few things, but I'm like, you do realize we're talking about that same thing. You just reshuffled the chairs on the Titanic. That's all you did, and so I do understand that she's gonna come back. It's not gonna be a completely 100%. I talked about this. She understood it. We're done. And no, it's going to come back. She will have an emotional reaction to something else similar, and then we'll want to talk about it. Now, if it's something that's relevant to we kind of weird because I do this show as part of my living here. So I'm always talking about these ideas. So it will end up turning into a type of conversation that that we might have that may sound like a conversation that might be had on the air. It can turn into that, and I had to be careful to make sure that we're not having on-air conversations that are really coded conversations about us. So I have to stop, like, hold on, wait a minute. Are we talking about us, or are we talking about some general male, female topics and stuff? And that's where her emotions gets tripped up, because it's a lot of stuff that she may want to talk about that may be related to us, but she hears a lot of different information, and she's filtering. She may get emotional about something and may try to filter us through the conversation that she it's like weird stuff. And I do always have to walk her back to reality. This is where we're at. This is where we're moving forward from this point here. All this other shit is over here, and it's going this way, that way, that way. No, this is where we're going. We're going over here. So we have to, all of that has to be done and positioned and repositioned and all of that. And keep in mind,
that's leadership, right?
Yeah, but keep in mind, fellas, when I'm explaining this, and this is where they try to, in these type of conversations online, where a lot of women try to smuggle the fuckery in, is they will take that type of normal situation that me and my woman have, where we have normal conversations, where she get normal emotional, and she get normal, thinking down the wrong path, and I have to reposition it. They will try to take that and say, the worst type of behaviors from women, and I know you never really dealt with this, but the out of pocket, bitchy, disrespectful, combative American women. They will try to take all of that, the women who are just hell bent on being that, and then try to say, if your leadership skills was there, if your leadership skills are right. No. The women who are out of pocket to the point to where they're just a problem, they need to go get help. Now, those women should be left alone. So I'm not in the business of gaslighting men into thinking they just need to be more masculine, more alpha, more this, more that, to try to do what I call, wrangling the banshees better. Like, no, they don't. We don't need to do that. Most people are familiar with my Pandora example with Avatar. We're not in the business of climbing to the top of the floating mountains of Pandora to wrangle the banshee that tries to kill you, to wrangle and wrestle her down into submission, so she'll submit and fly straight after she's tried to kill you, and you've had to wrestle her down into a rapey position to prove that you're the person she should fly with. We ain't with that over here, guys. Don't think that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about normal relationship conversations where, as Ike pointed out, that yes, what I described was some leadership, and so yes, when it comes to that, yes, that type of leadership, that type of guidance, that type of keeping her on the right track, all of that is necessary, and you will have to do it and do it again and do it again and then again from time to time. But we're not talking about the justification of the worst type of female behavior, or trying to fix the worst type of female behavior. Those women should be left to die alone. All right, go ahead.
So we've restated and reiterated this point over and over because I think it is important. I said that it is a good goldfish. I said that it is a good human being. I said that it is an employee that, let's say, for example, and you're the leader, but you're not expecting the employee to have certain levels of responsibility that you will take on, or you're not giving them, why can't they lead this company, and so on and so forth. But doesn't mean that you just have a whole bunch of crazy employees at your office. Okay. So, and for any woman watching this and saying, how dare you talk about this kind of leadership? It's like, look, okay, do you want to look up to your man? Is the question I always ask. And they immediately always say, yes, it's part of attraction to them. They want to look up to the man. That's why they want that man, right? That's why they want the top 10%, whatever, right? But obviously then, why are you talking out of the other side of your mouth regarding, oh, but I also want to struggle with him, and he can't leave me. It's like, it's ridiculous. What are you being? You're simply being a child. It is not surprising what you're doing. In other words, everybody knows that you want to eat your cake and have it. Everybody knows you want to eat pizza and also cheesecake and everything, but still not get fat. But reality doesn't work that way. You want to look up to your man, okay? But at the same time, you want to struggle with him to control stuff, okay? And you wonder why you're never happy, right? That's bullshit. You're being a child. Relax. It's okay. Everybody sees it. You're not fooling anybody, by the way. You're not fooling anybody. This is what 2-year-olds do. And if you do that BS where out of one side of the mouth, you're like, oh, I want to look up to my man. But on the other side, like, no, I'm going to control me. And it's like, relax. That's not the kind of employee we're talking about here. Now, you mentioned something about having to repeat over and over and over again. Okay. And that is the key thing. And I would like to mention here, and we will continue, and then I'll continue on this emotion thing after I give you an opportunity to respond, which is, this is something that is true of all kinds of leadership. Only have, in other words, prioritize your top maybe 3 commands, if you will. Yes, I like using provocative language. What are your top 3 commands? Yes, what are your top 3 commands? And then stick to those, because you're going to need to repeat them a billion times. This is true no matter what of the leadership, whether you're running a regiment of army people or you're running the company and so on and so forth. You need to prioritize and stick to that, because you need to repeat. Why? Because if you have a list of 20 commands and then you're repeating those, it gets confusing. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you are commander, drink water, which I am, always telling people to drink water, including my fiance, right? Like, hey, drink the water. Drink the water. Whatever. No, before that, you drink the water. Like, you pick that, you prioritize that. Okay, if drink the water, be fit. That's your thing. You know that's what you're going to need to repeat over and over and over again, so you don't have too many games with too many rules and too many reward type stuff. You reward the good behavior. You stick to 3 at most, because you're going to need to be repeating it. So you're going to be known as, hey, General, drink the water. Here comes General, drink the water again. This is true of all leadership kinds of things again. No matter what it is, whether you're leading your employees and so on and so forth, you want to stick to a small set of priorities, because you know that you're going to need to repeat. I don't know if you have anything to add to that or respond to that.
Oh, no. I was okay. You was cooking. You was cooking good. I like that 3, something that I got to make note of. 3 major things. Yeah. I'm trying to think that have I indirectly done that when I coach basketball. When I coach kids in basketball, there are major things that I just put an overemphasis on. If I never thought of it like that, 3 major commands, because if you got 20 things that you're telling them, and you're telling them all 20 of those things evenly, it is confusion. And there's times where I think I have done that, and by the end of the year, I think I came to the conclusion that they didn't really progress that much this year. If I look at if I look at the film of, let's say, the first or second game, and saw how unorganized it looked out there, then look at the last game, it's still kind of unorganized. But if there's like 3 or 4 things that you just drive home, you can have some kids out there in military precision on those 3 or 4 things. And then the other 16 or so things, just throw it out there, and the kids that are quick with it will pick that up. But everybody, if you have a non-negotiable 3 or 4, that non-negotiable 3 or 4 things that you drive home, that is a good strategy. And without thinking about it, I've done that in a few cases, and I've gotten better results. So that was definitely good stuff that I gotta
Remember that one, steal that one, use that one. Yes, it is. I
am feeling that.
It is absolutely key, and especially because I learned the hard way too, because I'm over here, Mr. Do 10,000 things and have a billion rules and blah blah blah, right? So in the past, in relationships, I'll have there's just I have a way of everything, and everything has to be just right and blah blah blah. It just does not work. too many games going on, right? It's fine for me. Okay, I like to play 1,000 games. I'm doing my engineering thing. I'm doing my sales thing. I do my music thing. I do my YouTube thing. I'm also doing my philosopher thing, and I'm writing this book. And it's like, that's me, right? But when you're a leader, whether it be in the engineering company or in my relationship, right? You have to just stick to these things, okay? And if you prioritize correctly, then obviously you know that other things will trickle down from there, right? So if the most important thing is to drink water and make sure that you're watching your diet, right? Other things will trickle down from there. You actually have a better mood and a better attitude as a result of being hydrated and eating the right food. You get what I'm saying, right? So
Yeah. Wait, hold on. You almost got to stop the show because to me at least, you broke news twice. You said you're writing a book, and I didn't know about that. And you said you had a fiance. I didn't know about that.
Oh,
so let's start with the fiance. You're like gonna get married?
yeah. I'm getting married. Yes. And
Now,
what are your questions about that?
I presume this woman is she from the motherland, as they call it here?
Yeah, she's Ghanaian. Part of the reason why I'm in Ghana right now, as a matter of fact, the wedding is on Thursday and Saturday, because you got to do the real wedding, which is the traditional wedding, and then you do a white wedding just because whatever, right?
Okay, so you're getting married over their marriage jurisdiction, however it works.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's that's cool. No, that's cool. That's cool. What's your because you know how it goes around here. Somebody said they getting married. People want to know, did you go and sign legally binding documents at the courthouse in the United States of America? That's what let
me address that, because I know exactly where people go with it. It's like, you see, those kinds of things never bother me, because, and I don't expect everybody to be the same way, but I think that my whole thing about, it's almost like when you're trying to dominate the world, you don't care about losses. You already discount certain things as a possibility. When you have a stoic disposition, you already understand that there's certain things that are out of your control in life, and it doesn't freaking matter, right? It does not matter, okay? She could go ahead and steal half my shit tomorrow. I don't give a damn. I'll quadruple that crap, because I don't understand that whole mindset. Again, not everybody has to be that way, okay? But for me, and as it has always been that way for me, these are little concerns, okay? Been there, done that. And it could happen again, and it's a foregone conclusion, and I don't give a damn, okay? Go ahead and take this. I'll just turn around and just go make another 10 times more. It might even be good motivation. It might be a good game. Let's say it lasts 10 years. Why make it a horrible 10 years by constantly having that in the back of your head? It's like, no, I'm already beyond that. I'm already assumed that kind of crap happened. This is not, look, and if you wonder, well, what kind of a mindset is that? Well, then watch my channel. Watch about master your subjective consciousness. Watch about, taking risks and doing big things in life. And then you will completely expunge all this kind of fear-based BS with the understanding that it could totally happen and it doesn't freaking matter.
One other question about that, and I think I know the answer to this one, but what's the why for you when it comes to getting married? Why get married?
Yes, for me, it's two things. Number one, the family aspect. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Number two, I need somebody because of the things that I plan on doing, and then we'll address the book also. Because of the things that I plan on doing, I understand that I need a marketing department. Okay. What is a marketing department? A marketing department is a branding, an image department. I'm a man. I'm rough around the edges, right? To do certain things at certain levels, okay? To be in certain places in certain country clubs, to be handed the keys, okay, to certain situations. And we know some of the numbers, like, CEOs of companies, blah, 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 all these people, they're married. The reason why is not that crazy. It's natural. us men are crazy marauders. We can't really trust ourselves very much until we see that, and it's just kind of an intuitive thing, that we're responsible for other people. People being the women and the children, and then you're like, okay, cool. He has an air of respectability, an air of trustworthiness. I can hand him the keys to the kingdom, right? So when you're trying to do certain things in terms of this branding, this imaging, this marketing, this social aspect, the smoothing out of rough edges, in addition to the family, that's exactly what I'm trying to do here in this case. So that'll be the why. The book. I'm sorry. Do you have a reaction to that, and then we'll talk about the book?
No. Well. I got a joking question because we know we view you here as Prince Hakeem from Coming to America. So I was going to ask you, have you ever had your fiance? Has she ever hopped on one leg and don't
barked like a little dog?
Don't answer. We don't need to know that. But good men in the building says, here you go, Ike, for that cola nut. I never. What is that?
Cola nut. It's a little nut that people. It's a ceremonial thing. There's going to be a lot of breaking of cola nuts and talking on Thursday. It's a ceremonial nut that people. It's great, by the way. It's like caffeine. Okay, you chew this nut, keeps you going all night. But it's something that is used in a lot of African ceremonies. The elders break the cola nut and they pray over it and they talk about stuff. Blah. Yeah. So Good Men is Nigerian, as you may know. So that's what he's talking about.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I had no idea what that is. It's a ceremonial nut. Okay. Today is actually my woman's birthday, so it's going to be some ceremonial nutting going on today. All right. Boom. All right. And the bride price I'm not even going to mess with that word. But shout out to Good Men. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. All right. I forgot where we was at. Oh yeah,
The book.
You're writing a book, man. I didn't know that. So go ahead. Tell us about that.
Since forever, and this has had many iterations now. Now I am. I like to think of myself as a philosophy type person. Okay. Maybe when I'm 90 or after I'm dead, maybe then I can call myself a philosopher, because I know it's rather pretentious to say those kinds of things. But for the longest time, I've had these sets of ideas in terms that I try to expound upon and I have preoccupations with. It really is about consciousness. It really is about the self. A big preoccupation of my channel, you guys go ahead and click on the link, subscribe, and then go to the playlist on meditation. It's about master your subjective consciousness.
Hold on, real quick. Hold your thought. Moderators, I don't think I've seen Ike's channel spamming through here. Have they been dropping it in there? Come on, guys. Get it in there. Y'all know. Type in Ike Ogiamien. Figure out how to spell it. Type it in. Go to his channel. Get the link. Drop the link in the chat. Or I'll do it. I'll do it, and then after I do it, then y'all can copy and paste it from there. Because I haven't seen anybody do it.
Yeah, what are they doing down there?
Yeah, y'all are
getting all involved with the fuckery and arguing back and forth about what women should or should not be doing.
Yeah, slipping on you're slipping on your pimping down there. Come on, fellas. That's his channel right
anyways, there. Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick Penn. More moderators, copy and paste what Nick Penn got down right there, and make it cute. Put subscribe to Ike, and I don't know, put some emojis and some confetti or something with it, or I don't know, make it look cute. Put some color on it so it'll pop out, so people will click the damn link and subscribe. All right.
100%. 100%. Yeah. So for the ever since I was like, it's got to be over 20 years now. I've had these ideas, and I'm trying to link it with a particular set of experiences. And by experience, I mean,
Time out. I'm so sorry. This is what just happened here. Okay. I'm drinking out of this cup, but I grabbed this cup and then tried to take a sip, and I'm looking, and I couldn't figure out, no matter how much I turned it up, I couldn't quite get.
That black magic.
Oh. I mean, normally when your mouth touched the wrong cup, you realize. But no, I had it all the way up here. I was all the way back there with it, trying to figure out why am I not getting nothing. But anyway, carry on. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the book really is going to be about mastering your subjective consciousness, but also it's going to have certain links to a philosophical construct and also about how you can both master yourself while also mastering the external world. In other words, it's practical. Master yourself, master the external world, but also there is a kind of a philosophy, a philosophical through line, if you will, with mainly about stoicism of my own particular flavor, if you will. So that's the book I'm working on. As I mentioned, like I've been writing for about like 20 years regarding that kind of stuff, and I've been practicing as I mentioned, meditation. I talk a lot about it in my channel. Okay, mastering of subjective consciousness. I'm trying to bring these two worlds together. That's the thing: the world of experience of the self and the worlds of conceptualization of the self. Right. So let me use the big words. In other words, the metaphysics and epistemology of the subjective consciousness. Yeah. For you eggheads out there.
Uh-huh. Good stuff. I like it. You're oh, go ahead.
Another thing about the topic that we the renegotiation, okay, from an emotional standpoint is something also that you should expect, okay, a woman to try to do all the time. And don't get angry. Don't get like, oh my God, about it, right? In other words, you lay down some logical facts similar to what you were talking about. And it's like, okay, because it's an unassailable and it makes sense because it's not, look, the point is a woman is as logical as a man when it comes to things like 2 + 2 = 4, balance a checkbook. That's why, yeah, they can be accountants. They can be great accountants. They can be great. However, when it comes to life, you know what I mean? When it comes to things that have to do with how you ought to live and your relationship with somebody and their blah, 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 that's when the emotion then takes precedence. It's just a question of ordering stuff. It's like, hey, I'm balancing my checkbook. I could be just as logical as anybody else. Okay, but oh, what do I want for my vacation? Then, okay, then the emotions take place. Then it's not about logical argument anymore. Then there's going to be blocking, obfuscation, deflection, all that kind of stuff that we know. Okay, so the point is, you make some kind of logical case, right? And it makes sense at the time, and she says yes. It does not expect her at some point in the future to come from an emotional perspective, not from a perspective of, look, you know what, I've reviewed these documents, I talked to my lawyer, okay, and I think that actually lines number 5B are not, we need to read, not from that perspective. That's a different kind of thing. I mean from like but I want, what I want kind of perspective, right? Oh, but I just want it now. I know that I agreed before, but I just, now I just feel differently. That kind of thing you should expect, and you don't take it seriously. Like it's as simple as that. It's like expect it and don't take it seriously either. Use the same kind of techniques which we mentioned before. Okay, you have to expect this kind of emotional negotiation to happen. The way to go wrong there is to be like, oh, but we talked about, remember you signed this document over here and on line 17B, and remember the argument we had about blah, blah, and the premises follow from, it's like, that doesn't matter. That's not what's going on here. That's not what's going on. It's just a feeling that's being expressed, and you need to be able to just suppress that, sidestep that, because if this is a good woman, again, a real woman, a natural woman, she expects you to be a man. She expects you not to fall for that BS. Does that make sense?
Right. No, I got you. Doug in the building with the super chat. Appreciate that. Yeah, Stoic one. Got some bells and whistles on there. I appreciate that. That's how it's supposed to look. Make sure you subscribe to Ike. One more question. You mentioned earlier that I think you said either your dad or your granddad, one of them had 5 wives, one of them had 11 wives. Are you going to, is this just your first wife? Will there be other installments to the kingdom?
That's not really part of the plan. Plus, in other words, I'm actually taking seriously what you're saying.
No, it was a serious question. I didn't. I don't know if that's what that was the sloppy. I asked the question in a very sloppy way when I was getting at what jurisdiction your marriage is going to be under.
Mhm.
What I was really saying is culturally, will it be will you go about it in the cultural customs and traditions that you spoke about when you mentioned your father and your grandfather in that
Yeah.
sense?
I've seen that situation. I've seen how it works or doesn't work. And it is something that I would say that is not part of my plan. There are a couple of there are actually benefits, again, if both parties understand. Okay, there are benefits to the man and to the woman to have that kind of a polygamy thing going on. Okay, especially because you can actually have, it's almost like a company. Okay, because there's always a head wife, right? That's something, I don't know how familiar you are with that whole polygamy thing, but there's always a head wife, and it's typically the first wife. Okay, then she looks at these other sister wives, these other people that play in a particular role. So the head wife usually has certain privileges whereby she can go and she's more like, she can actually be your CFO or something, like she can have more power. While this other one here and these other, they have these other things that they do. In other words, it actually helps her, free her from certain things that maybe she doesn't want to do anymore, or
like have sex with you.
Exactly, could be that.
Okay, all right, I'm done. It's been 10 years. We got to tag in a young bitch. I'm getting out. We got to tag in a young one.
But for now, that's just not part of my plan. Plus, given my personality, I can't really, I can't deal with too many people. It just becomes it just becomes crazy. I don't want to do that. So yeah, but the renegotiation thing. Did you have any thoughts on that? Which is, hey, don't expect that there's not going to be some time when. Where the thing that you was agreed upon is not going to come up again from an opposite direction, but from an emotional way, and you simply just brush it aside.
No, I'm 100% in agreement with you on that. You're the first person that ever explained it like that, because like I talked about earlier, me and my woman, we actually go through, we actually do that. It actually happens, and yeah, you explained it quite well. So I'm in 100% agreement with you that you shouldn't flip out if it comes back. Now, if it's coming back in an over aggressive type of way, coming back with a lot of masculine energy, like if that's when it gets to the point. Okay, she's done. But if she's tiptoeing back into it in just an emotional, feminine type of way, where then it's like, okay, that's something you can manage and deal with, and that's when leadership skills and all of that comes in. So yeah, we in 100% agreement with that one. Yeah.
So speaking of leadership skills, and also slightly with regards to this, and it'll segue into another part of the conversation as far as not expecting certain things from a goldfish. Again, you like goldfish, they're not cats, they're not dogs. Don't start getting bitter at goldfish. You're the one that likes them. Okay, no one is forcing you to have goldfish around. So the point is, there is a game that you have to play. This is the game of yes or no. And this goes into the whole dissatisfaction thing, which you should, let me make a statement. Don't expect a woman to be satisfied. Okay, let me say that again. And this is the manosphere. We know this. Like, how many times, right? As Coach Greg Agam said, he has a button on his Roadstar that goes, "I'm not happy," right? Don't expect a woman to be satisfied. And by that, I mean in time, in perpetuity, for the long term, that it's just going to stay there. Us men, we can stabilize, okay? Our level of satisfaction, we could just stabilize it and be like, okay, cool, 2-bedroom apartment, this, that, okay, good. I'm good now, right? I could just coast to there. This is not how the goldfish works, okay? And again, you like the goldfish, right? Don't blame anybody. Don't start hating it for being the way it is. As a matter of fact, that's part of why you like it, because it is about the experience. You don't like it for logic. You don't like it for this kind of cold, stoical satisfaction. You don't want it to be, it's not your hunting buddy. It's not your buddy in the foxhole that'll go through the thick and thin. No. That's not what it is. You like it for this experiential part of things. And the experiential part of things is also the emotional, the internal, the feelings, the social. And those things just move and wave, and they move with the wind. It's like the weather pattern. Now, the game that needs to be played with that is the game of no. In other words, you have to know how to say no to certain things so that you can say yes later on. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's like, because if you play Captain Simp and always say yes, you're just going to run into a dead end very quick. Okay. Yep. That's stupid. If you always say no, then you're not being reasonable, to be honest with you. Then, or you're dealing with some kind of weird animal, because what kind of a thing are you dealing with where everything is no? It's like that. You know, presumably you're dealing with a reasonable human being, right? However, just like, you know, we talk about many analogies. You're dealing with a reasonable human being. You're dealing with reasonable employees in your company, right? You're dealing with, they're reasonable, but you need to be able to say no, right? So that you can say yes later, because it creates that tension, right? It creates that kind of like dissatisfaction. And then it's like, oh, release. I got it after all. Ha ha ha. I'm happy again. Okay. Or someone may be thinking, wow, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to go through all this? Bro, you're the leader. You're the one that has taken that position. You're the one that has decided you're going to be having goldfish around. Okay. Yeah. Don't be like, why can't the goldfish be like the cat? Why can't it be like the dog? That's on you, bro. So it is not this kind of a thing where it's like, oh, let them have, or it's always a man's fault. It's not a matter of always a man's fault. It's basically, you need to know what to expect. You need to deal with the world as it is, not the way you think it should be. So you are the one that needs to understand the rules of the game. Play the game of no, just so you can say yes later, right? And that helps with that whole kind of up and down that is you should expect to happen anyways. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Right. No, that it makes perfect sense. And provided that we are talking about a decent woman. I always have to preface that in these conversations in Black America. Provided that we're talking about a proper woman, everything that you're saying is absolutely 100% on point. A question that I have going forward, and I'm trying not to circle it back to you announcing this engagement. I still want to pick your brain about that. But
go ahead.
But let's see. When it comes to when it comes to women, and you know, you talk about expecting them to be women and not expecting them to be logical. I mean, expecting them to be women, not expecting them to be like men. You're not expecting them to be logical. You're expecting a certain amount of emotion. You're expecting that. Okay. Does it get to a point? I guess I want to touch on how much is too much. How much is too far? I know where I put the mark at as far as too far, and I talk about that all the time on this show. How much of it is to where it's getting to the point where you're expending too much of your time having to reposition or correct this person? Like when does it get to the point? Like you talk about how, yes, they're going to filter their thoughts and their communication through their emotions. You're going to correct or guide the situation, but you understand she's a woman. She's just going to come back at a different angle talking about the same thing. How much is too much in your eyes to where, like, damn, you back already with that? Like we just dealt with that at 12 noon. It's not the sun just went down and you're already back. Like, so when does it get to the point where it's too much and this is turns into a lost cause?
2 weeks. No, I'm just kidding. So obviously it's not that kind of an answer where you say how much and then I can give you that kind of an answer. However, it's a very good question. It's a very good question. I'm going to talk about it in two different slots here. One of them is a personality slot. We'll talk about that next. But the first thing is it's all about how you start beginnings are very important. Okay? If you take bullshit in the beginning, well, you're gonna be in bullshit. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So beginnings are very, very important. You need to set, in other words, expect. It's another expectation. Expect to be tested.
I was just about to say, how much do you think is women deliberately, because that gets talked about a lot in this space as well. How much of it do you think that they're deliberately bending over backwards to not what I would say, the way I would word it, deliberately bending over backwards to just be outright bitches at the start, just to see how you react to it, or how much of it is, no, she's just an outright bitch, leave her alone. Like what? Like what's that? That's one that you know, I've been in a lot of debates on that one in this space with men and women, where I'm like, nah, if I'm seeing all of that bitch up front, I'm not going to say, okay, she tested me, let me pass her test, and now she's going to act normal. I'm like, no, you just showed me you a bitch. I'm done. So where's the line on that?
Yeah, so, and that's the personality bucket, right? Which you got to know yourself, okay? And there's some people, and you can even go to Myers-Briggs, for example, in terms of, you may want to test yourself to see the kind of person you are, right? Are you intuitive or not? Are you a thinker or a feeler? Blah, 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 blah. Are you extroverted or are you introverted? Okay. Now, that's not going to change how you act, but it's going to give you some guidance as to how to, it's going to give you some guidance as to tactics. Okay. Some people, let's say they're feelers, right? I'm a INTJ type, let's say, or maybe some people say I may be an extroverted, ENTP, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, there's intuition, and then there is the thinking, there's the judging, so on and so forth. People like me don't like a bunch of small talk, and we don't like a bunch of BS. So for me, okay, the line is different. It's like, no, this is where it's at, okay? And I'm going to answer the question as to, is it kind of a thing that they're doing on purpose or so on and so forth, okay? Now, if you're an ENFJ, this kind of extroverted feeling type, yeah, you may want to be going all around and in circles talking about your woman every day about some nonsense that someone like me looks at like it's nonsense, right? It's like, what the hell are you talking about, bro? You just, no. That's never even going to get to step 2. You guys are in step 50 having this BS conversation. So it is really, and I hate answering questions like, oh, it depends on the person, that kind of nonsense.
I
Okay,
understand.
but in this case, it actually is true. We have different psychological dispositions, but so everybody knows their threshold. Now, she will test you, but I don't think they're Machiavellian like that, in the sense that it's not some kind of, she did not go in her notebook yesterday and say, okay, I'm going to test him this way, I'm going to plot this, that, and the other. No, it is, to use the crazy word, it is an evolutionary mechanism that works for the benefit of everybody. Okay, why? And you probably already know the answer to this, right? She cannot afford, especially if she's going to be with somebody and she's going to be pregnant for 9 months, and then she's going to be with this baby. In other words, there's going to be this 3-year period of vulnerability, her and baby combined, because you have to consider, look, a woman is designed to carry babies, right, and give birth, right? So you have to think of woman-baby combination a lot of times, rather than just think of, oh, a woman, right? It's a woman-baby combination, right? They kind of, that's the program they're running. So she cannot afford to be with somebody that she cannot, right, trust. And I'm not talking about objectively now. I'm talking about the evolutionary program. It says, hey, we need to know for sure that this is the real person. That's why she will not tell you, for example, it's like she will not tell you exactly what to do. She expects you to simply do it. Why? Because it's like you taking your car to a mechanic. Mechanic opens up the hood and says, where's the battery? Is this a V8? Does this have a carburetor? Or it's like, you're like, whoa. I'm not supposed to be telling you. I can't trust this mechanic. The mechanic should just know. Mm-hmm. That is an aspect of the same thing we're talking about. That's why they don't do the telling. And then number two, they need to do, and this is not, if she's doing it over and over and over again, no, that's bullshit, okay? But they need in the beginning to see that, hey, this guy does not take nonsense, right? And then they can relax. It is not something that she wrote down in her notebook yesterday, unless you're dealing with some really cold, calculating, crazy MF here, right? That's, oh, I'm going to test him this way, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to attack him this way. It's like, no, it's just an emotional reaction. Look, we can understand it too, because we were all children at some point, and we know about testing limits, right? So you're like, this person, the substitute teacher comes in, and you're like, can I do this? How about this? How about that, right? And then boom, you get hit by that. Okay, cool. Now I know where the boundaries are, right? That kind of a thing. So, number one, it is about your personality with regards to whom or how far you should let things go. Number two, right? It is something that they do subconsciously. Okay. Number three is the reason being the fact that they need to be able, or the game, the situation, the organism, the species needs to be able to trust that you're the real deal, okay? And then number four, it's not some bullshit that happens, every other weekend, and now she's coming in with this, and now she's bringing a switchblade, and look. I think common sense needs to be applied here, okay? Because people are always trying to like push, like how, like, oh, but it's like, dude, leave her alone then. It's like, what do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, well, no, what people will do, and this has happened on my show, people will use the sensible points that you just laid out. They will use that as a way to basically put on a cape for all orders of magnitudes of effery from women. And that's what they tend to do. And that's one thing that I've been laser focused on, making sure that we're not gaslighting men into being into toxic relationships or relationships with toxic women, because it to be trying to constantly challenge and test a man and test the test of might and strength, to be constantly doing, like, that's a very masculine thing, and that's where the whole thing in our culture comes from. You can't handle a strong black woman. You got to be able to handle me. You got to be able to rise to the, okay. That's where all of that comes from. And it's basically saying it's telling men you're not man enough. You're not a real man because you ain't man enough to handle this manly woman. It turns into,
right from the beginning, you set it up. Right? You don't take shit.
Oh yeah,
from
that
the
part.
Beginning.
Yeah, that part we definitely.
And you know the level of, and then you see and you make sure that shit, it never rises up to that level again. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, in the beginning maybe she's banging on the door, boom boom, and then you're like, maybe the next test, 6 months down the line, it'll be a little doorbell ringing, like, hey, that kind of a thing. That's acceptable, but don't be banging. Don't. You know what I'm saying? And how do you make that clear? Look, you need to have backbone, and you need to actually be, and I hate to say it, but let me not say it, okay? Because it doesn't help. But this whole thing about leadership, we need to understand, and I think men understand this, that men are not born, we are made, right? So this is not something where you're like, you just naturally come off the gate, off rip, just being able to do this and the other. And those niggas out there telling you that that's how they are, that's bullshit, okay? Yeah, those game niggas out there talking about, their pimp hand being strong. It's like, no, it's all learned. And it is important to say that it is learned, because, and I think we know this about certain people, where it's like, oh, well, if you were a real man, then it's like, shut the hell up, nigga. Like,
Thank you.
Shut up.
Thank you.
It's a freaking skill, you idiot. And stop that bullshit snake oil salesman nonsense, okay? It is a skill, and we need to understand that it is a skill, and you should improve. Men are made, we're not born. So you can improve in this particular regard. You can improve with regards to your backbone and your stoicism, and you can improve with regards to being able to set the standard. So it's not some nonsense that some idiot, like, oh, if you're a real man, that shit disgusts me so much. Anyways.
Oh, man. Good stuff. Osama Abdul in the building. He says, BR and Ike, an emerging duo on the rise in the sphere. I agree. There, I said it in the building. He says, extremely elegant nuances here, gentlemen. There is no one size fits all, except this: when you put foot down, she must fall back. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. DC in the building says, good morning, brothers. Just showing love. Thank you, and appreciate the love. Appreciate all of the love. I know one thing that happened. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button on the way in. Make sure y'all hit that like button. We had 247 people in the building, 146 on the likes. We can get that up to 200, at least 180 right now. At least 180 right now. Let people know that you're in the building by hitting that like button. One thing I want to get at, and I like what you said right there. How you said, if she came to your house and she just banging on your door like the police, yeah, like, hey, don't be banging on the door like that. Like, cut that shit out, you know. Like, yeah, like simple stuff like that. Simple, and it very well could have been that she just always banged on doors hard like that. Because I used to bang on doors hard like that, and people would tell me, like, dude, you knock on the door like the police. I was like, what? Because it just, in my mind, somewhere in my mind, I'm thinking they could be all the way in the back of the house. So I need to do make sure that they hear it. But then I realized that, oh, that is a little unsettling for the person relaxing on the couch and they hear a boom, boom, and they jumping up like they under attack. Like so I realized, okay, yeah, a simple would suffice. So yeah, we get that. And I like that those are the examples that you're giving. And I'm trying not to keep going back to some of the stuff that happens and takes place in Black America, where those same points are used, even when even when it's beyond the norm, even when it's beyond the normal healthy amount of the woman learning or getting to know a man. I know I can look at my personal situation, and we both have talked a bit about our personal situations here. And in my observation, shout out to Goshen in the building with the $100 super chat. He says, "Shalom, you gotta learn to handle her." Ha ha. Yes, you gotta man up, gotta handle. Gotta be a real man to handle a manly woman. Yes. But in my observation of her, just recollecting, thinking back of when me and her first started dealing with each other, she wasn't trying to test me. I could tell she was very observant. I could tell she asked a lot of questions, but not like direct questions. Like she wanted to know, like, what would you do in situation B? But no, but she probed in like, I could tell she was gathering data.
You may have an intuitive woman then, because I don't mean to cut you off, but to just, in other words, this thing about the different people doing things differently is key for us to understand. And then there are two things that came to mind as you were talking right now. The number one thing is, if the ideal, what the test is look at your outcomes. You know what I mean? As in, hey, let me watch this guy. He's out there slaying that dragon and this dragon. Let me watch this guy amongst the hierarchy of men. Oh, okay, they put him here. Let me watch this outcome over here and watch this outcome over here. Okay, good. Is the real deal. In terms of the ideal world, those are the parameters that they're checking for, and they do check for that, right? They do as well. Like, yeah, they're constantly trying to place you in some level in the hierarchy. As I said, they wait at the finish line looking for who won the race, right? And try to take off that top 10%, that top 20%, whatever they can grab, right? So basically, ideally, it's like, oh, you're slaying dragons out there. You are a leader amongst men. As people say, in the space, certain people like to other men want to be you and other women want to F you. I hate that statement, but that kind of a thing. They're looking for that. And then the second thing that came to mind is she might be an intuitive woman. Intuitive just means it's a way in which people gather information, right? They can map things based on data that they get they do a lot of deducing. In other words, it's that kind of deduction type stuff. Okay, this and this and this is true, therefore I can imply all these things. I don't need to test every freaking little situation. That's what censors tend to do. Okay, now a lot of women are censors. Okay, but censors, let's take for example. Okay, the difference between a censor and an intuitive person. One difference. Let's say you're the kind of person that, and I'm this kind of person, I don't like for my stuff or your stuff to be around in the public areas of the house. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
don't put your freaking mail, okay, on the kitchen counter. Don't leave your freaking jacket on you have a closet, you have a room, you get what I'm saying? It's like, put it away. Okay, so an intuitive woman, for example, you're like, stop, don't put the cup, I don't like, blah, blah, blah. You explain that kind of stuff. It was a cup today. She knows it includes mail, jacket, purse, everything. A censor will put a cup there, and you tell her, don't put a cup. Next day, she'll put a piece of mail there. He said, don't put a piece of mail. And it's like, but you didn't tell me mail. You told me cup. How about a bag? How about a jacket? How about a shoe? It's a personality type, though. You need to know that as well, in the sense that you need to know that these different people learn differently. An intuitive person is able to do the deduction, which is like, I can deduce from cup that it means nothing, right? That it means these things go in this particular place, right? An intuitive person does not use recipes, right? A censor, they need a recipe every time. It's like, oh, but it says 2 pinches of salt, this one says, they have to follow. It's like they need to sense a whole bunch of different things for them to, they do more induction. They have to bring in a whole bunch of 10,000 examples, and they're like, oh, okay, now I get it. A deductive person, an intuitive person, just needs about 2 examples. Like, okay, cool, now I get it. I can generalize, I can make that kind of a rule. So that's the kind of thing that I'm sensing. Number one, as I mentioned, that they can get this information that they're looking for, generally speaking, by looking at your outcomes out in the real world. And as a matter of fact, ideally, that's what they should do. And they should learn about men from other women. Unfortunately, in a culture that works, women should be learning about how a man moves and the right kind of man from other women, because they can communicate with each other the way they communicate, right? But unfortunately, now they're having to learn certain things from men, let's say on YouTube, for example, right? Because the father wasn't there, the mother, so on and so forth, right? And then the women, let's say their mothers, did not have a good relationship with their father or with the husband, the father of their child, blah, blah, blah. But basically, they ought to know how to, and I'm not blaming them for not knowing right now in the situation the way it is, but they can gather the information about, hey, this is a man, this is a real man, by looking at certain markers out there, okay? And then with just a little bit of minimal, like, S testing, then you can be like, oh, okay, cool, I can relax around him. He really isn't a punk, right? That kind of a thing. And that's the level at which it should stop. It doesn't go beyond that. But I'm thinking that your woman is an intuitive woman, given the way that she was kind of going about gathering the information. That's why I went on this freaking long tangent.
Oh no, that's good. That's good. No, I liked it. I like what you said there. But yeah, I mean, I can gather that about her. I mean, some of what you said applies to her. That she did seem to be, my perception of it. Yeah, she seemed to be just gathering data, gathering information, asked a lot of questions, and just and came to her conclusions based off observation and questions. I never felt like she overtly tried to shit test me. I never felt like that. And then so much it was a conversation that I had on here that made me circle back and ask her. I'm like, and then this was me and her, like, we're open and we're honest about stuff. We always talk about, we have long conversations about when we first met, and those early times when we didn't know each other. Well, what were you thinking then? You remember when I did this and I didn't know how you was going to act? We weren't even around each other. It was probably our second time around each other, and we hadn't had sex or nothing then. But but like, what was going through your head that time when I did this one little thing that was potentially probably inappropriate at the time, but what was you really thinking? I mean, you act like you didn't like it, but tell the truth. What was you really thinking? We go back and we go back and we talk about stuff like that all the time. So I had asked her back then, were you doing little stuff to shit test me? Like, do you shit test? Like, what? Like, is that your thing? And she was like, no, and I believe her because I'm the same exact way. I don't do shit tests. I be who I am, and they're going to react to who I am, and I'm going to see who they are, and so. I mean, maybe that's just my own bubble of what's going to work for me, because when people start talking about all of this shit testing, this doing, it's like sometimes it's a foreign language. With me and her, it was some things that she did that was a genuine mistake. I don't believe it was a shit test. Like, for example, it was the opposite of the banging on the door situation. One time it was kind of cold, and she hates being. I live in Michigan, and she hates the cold, and she came and she like tapped on the door, and I'm laying down in the bed, and I'm liable to just fall asleep watching a movie.
You left her out in the cold.
Yeah, sleep. Yeah, I left her outside in the cold, and she was upset about it because she got left out there for a while, and I had to say, hold on. You have a cell phone, you got a car with running heat. You saw that it was cold. Yes, I understood that you were on your way, but you were an hour away, roughly give or take an hour away. I don't know exactly when you're going to pull up. There's so many variables I don't know and understand, and I'm laying down in my bed. So if the potential chance of you being outside in the cold, tapping on the door like that, freezing your nipples off, if that was a potential chance, and that would make this day the worst day of your life. But so I'm like, you did this to yourself. Now, in her mind, she feels like I'm supposed to, because I knew she was coming. I knew roughly how long it was going to take for her to get there. So I'm supposed to be standing up doing jumping jacks waiting on her. And so when she pulls up, I'm supposed to hear it and be there with opening the door, out at the car. I thought that in her mind, she was saying all of that. That's what she thought. I don't believe it was a shit test. It's just that's what she expected. And
and shit tests will not even take that kind of a form. That's kind of crazy. Like, yeah. No, the whole shit test thing really is a means of gathering information. And as we talked about, there are many ways of going about doing it. And especially if you're an intuitive type and also she's an intuitive type, we don't gather information that way. We can deduce, we can extrapolate, we can watch, and we can see, right? And that's all that's necessary. I don't know, I cut you off, but yeah.
No, you're good. No, I understand what you were saying there, but I explained to her going forward, if there's a potential of that happening, use your cell phone, call me when you pull up. I will get up and I will go out. I will help you carry in whatever you need carried in, and you can just walk right through the door. I explained that's how that's going to work going forward, because while waiting an hour for you to pull up, it's a potential chance I might take a nap. I feel like that could have potentially been a shit test where she was going to try to see going forward if, when I knew she was coming, if I was going to be there at the window like a kid, waiting on the long lost dad to come pick him up or something. Like, no.
No, it's just more, it's like a typical kind of like an emotional thing where it's like, I would want this to happen, therefore, it should happen, rather than, well, logically, there's no reason why somebody should be waiting there and so on and so forth, right? It'll make her feel good if you were there waiting with, with a pot of warm milk and some cookies right by the door.
Exactly.
But it's like, But logically, it's like, no, that's not how the world really actually works. Plus, if you actually did that, you know, there may have been some negative consequences in her mind about what a simp you were. But anyways,
Yeah, but no, yeah. Long story short, she pulls up and she calls, and she doesn't put herself in that situation where she may potentially be standing outside, because that is another soft aspect of her. She don't bang on the door like the police, so sometimes I don't hear when she taps on the door. So yeah, she knows to call, give me a call. I'm 5 minutes away, or I just pulled up, and then we go from there. But I do understand that situations like that could raise an expectation in her mind to where now going forward, if I didn't say no, this is how that's going to work, she would be expecting that if she pull up, that I'm supposed to be there, like you said, with warm milk and cookies, waiting at the door, and just opening the door. Yeah, so
yeah,
no,
beginnings are very, very important. And let's say, for example, okay, and here's something that I mentioned personalities before, but also culture is another aspect in terms of affecting how people behave, how they perceive, and so on and so forth, right? So, as a West African, okay, and West Africans have a lot in common with African Americans, because African Americans generally, by and large, came from West Africa. You guys are not from Ethiopia or something like that. No, you're right there from Ghana, Nigeria, and that kind of stuff. Okay. Now, there is a genetic thing about West Africans and testosterone, including in the women. Okay. Look, Nigerian women are kind of crazy too, compared to, let's say, Ethiopian women.
I like, hold on real quick. You mentioned something that's a rabbit hole when you said testosterone in women, and I'm gonna let you finish. I ain't gonna Kanye you, but
okay,
that part right there is a big part of like I said, it's masculine for a woman to be trying to constantly be testing and trying to challenge a man on something. Black women, yeah, there's science, they have the highest levels of testosterone, and I think that has something to do with it. And I think that, yes, a lot of times we are counteracting a lot of manliness and testosterone in them, where that causes them to want to fight with us. And it goes back to what I say: you ain't a real man because you can't handle this manly bitch.
Yeah.
So, and I think testosterone has a lot to do with that. That's just
but
carry on. Hold on, real quick. And you carry on. Shout out to Goshen again. I appreciate that. And I saw your comment down there, Goshen, where you said, do you expect a woman to be honest about whether or not she shit tested you? I preface that by saying we have a lot of honest conversations about stuff that went on when we first met and when we first started dealing with each other, to where I believe her, and the things that she said does line up with what I observed, even though that situation that I described, that was one thing that seemed like it amounted to a shit test, where in my mind, she basically just climbed up on a cross to persecute herself out in the cold and to be her own victim of her own faulty logic and bad decision making. But anyway, that could have potentially been a shit test. And whether or not she consciously did it or subconsciously did it, that's one thing. And yeah, me and I talked about that earlier, how sometimes it's subconscious when they're doing that. But I mean, I generally believe her, because she's generally held up over the time. So in terms of the things that we talk about. But yeah, no, I understand that you ask a woman a question like that, even if she has a A1 track record, you still should take it with a grain of salt to some degree. I do get you, Goshen. But thank you for the $100 super chat. Appreciate that. Today's show is brought to you by Goshen, who dropped a $100 super chat. We appreciate that. Dio Trice in the building. He says, first time listener, Manosphere sophomore. Good stuff, gentlemen. Here is my GP love offering. We need this mental work. Pay it forward. Peace. Right on, man. Thank you. And welcome aboard. Jesse Field III in the building says Ados in Naja. I think that's, he said that's Nigeria. Yeah. Ados in, or is that a separate place in I mean, I know you're from Nigeria, so is Naija?
Niger is just a way of, it's like slang for Nigerians, like, well, it's that kind of a thing. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Ados and Naja connection. Talk that talk, gentlemen. Hashtag Black Patriarchy. I'm with that. That's part of what this manosphere is about in my eyes. I think some people lose sight of that. It has hashtag wealth, hashtag power, hashtag influence. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Hopefully you held your oh wait, hold on. We got another one. There, I said it in the building. He says, Ike, you may not understand American BW believes there's more success potential in this structure for BW. This is a matriarchal takeover. We ain't trying to go down that rabbit hole. But thank you for that super chat. And I think Ike has a good understanding of Black American culture. I mean, you've been here. I don't know if you've been down in the mud, but you've definitely been in the States for over 20 years, if I understand.
I've dated African American women.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Plus, I was talking about, speaking about holding my thought, I was talking about the fact that there is a West African thing, right? And that if you go to Africa, you compare West Africans with East Africans, for example, you're going to notice one main difference is that there tends to be, okay, there is, as a matter of fact, more, okay, there is more masculinity, if you will, like in the, let's say Nigerians, right? And I don't want to be all self-serving about it. Like, Nigerians are the most alpha niggas out there. But you can ask other Africans. They're like, oh, these Nigerians are always coming over. They take over our business. They're taking all our women. They're doing this, that, and the other. But the same thing with the Nigerian women is that there is a little bit more of that kind of, it's a bit more give or, take or whatever the hell it is. They're a little kind of more rambunctious and so on and so forth. But that stuff is tempered by the culture. In other words, that stuff is tempered by the fact that they understand roles, in other words, the masculinity and the femininity aspect of things. So, but if you take somebody with extra testosterone, in other words, West African women, and you put them in a situation where it's all, throw the bras out and, I don't need no man. And okay, why do I actually need a man? Because, I can get the policeman and the firefighter and these other people to do all these other things. They can filter the benefits down to me via other things, right? I don't have to do anything. I can just kind of be myself and blah, 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 right? Then you're going to get this kind of dysfunction, okay? But it is a question, it is a matter of fact that the West African woman is a little different. Now I'm dealing with West African women, okay? Not dealing with an East African woman. But I know that. I'm used to it. I understand that they have their way. But it doesn't mean that the cultural aspects are not important. Now, you also then mentioned something about, let me just broach it this way. In the West, okay, in modern day liberal democracy, and it was about the comment that somebody left about, the coup, right? Well, of course, people don't like giving up power. People will not want to change a situation that benefits them, okay? But they're not actually naturally satisfied in this particular state either, right? Otherwise, they won't be, let's say, calling Kevin Samuel's show, talking about what they want, right? If they indeed did not need and blah, 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 even if they say that out of one side of the mouth. And then out of the other side of the mouth, they're like, oh, well, we're all the good men. And how come I can't find this? And it's like, well, which is it? Okay. Do you need it or don't you need it? So, fact is, there are still things. Okay. Let me just put it the way I tend to put it. Basically, the protection and provision is not a need that they don't need men for that anymore. Mm-hmm. Okay, in the West, like practically, okay, like when I say practically, I don't mean they don't emotionally need it. What I mean is practically, right? Practically, you don't really need Bernard over there to protect you, okay, right?
You said it real quick. You said it just right. I said the whole protection thing, it's about feeling safe. They don't feel protected. And that's that feeling of being protected comes from you have an actual man in your house that's your actual man, and you sleep better at night when you know you got an actual when you know you got a man in the house. So that's what we're talking about. That feeling of protection. They talking about feelings. But anyway, carry on.
in a situation where, and this is the whole thing about, you got to understand we're animals. And this is something that I think that, again, is a part of the whole Western culture, is that we forget that we're animals. We start thinking that we're angels up in the sky somewhere. It's like, no, we're freaking animals. So if this animal no longer needs, okay, or even if they feel it, but in reality, practically, it's not the case that there is this fear that, oh, if Bernard is not there anymore, then I'm going to starve to death and get, eaten by a pack of wolves. The actual situation is different, right? There is a actual difference now. And I think this is all the thing about men's expectations and so on and so forth. It's like, look, the landscape has changed, okay? So the needs now are different. The needs are emotional. The needs are also, yes, they need you for that. That's why you need to, as they say, protect your seed, that kind of stuff, right? Don't go spreading your seed out there, because they also still need you for that, okay? And then they need you for all these other things, which unfortunately are more shaky, right? In other words, if you're the top 10% of person, yeah, maybe you have something that is solid, that is different, materially solid and different from other people. But if you're not, then it's things such as friendship and partnership and self-esteem, and in other words, the middle of Maslow's hierarchy. What I'm saying is the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy, which is protection and provision, no, you don't need in a practical sense anymore. So the nature of that need is different. Back when it was the case that, hey, I would be eaten by a pack of wolves without Bernard, don't you expect that actually, you as a man, you would be foolish to think that now that thing is not there anymore, that, oh, the landscape is the same and they should just act exactly the same. It's like, no, you need, again, because you are the one over here that's kind of using your head, you're the one that's supposed to be leading, you need to, with the change in the landscape of the chessboard, you need to be playing a slightly different game now. What exactly is that game? I think that's probably another stream that we could have. That's about the, but one of the things I mentioned is, saying the yes and playing the yes. Good. Saying the yes and the no, for example. But in reality, okay, if you are not there, she's not going to get eaten by a pack of wolves or starve to death. Okay. Therefore, the nature of the relationship has fundamentally changed. If you are railing about that and like blah, 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 you're just being a bitch ass nigga. Like, that's stupid. Okay. That's not reality. We're animals. Okay. So
hold on,
this goes to the
say that part again. I want to hear that again. I was in the middle of typing something. Say that again. You said some.
I'm saying that if you're railing against the fact that, so what I'm saying is the landscape has changed. They no longer need you in material, practical terms for that thing. If Bernard leaves, I'm not going to get, she's not going to get eaten by a pack of wolves and starve to death. Okay, she does not have to worry about, who's going to protect me and my baby and this kind of stuff in reality, in material terms. If you as a man cannot understand that, this is a different now in the landscape difference in the chess game, and if you're bitching like, but it should still be the same, and I need to still play the same exact game, then you are being a bitch ass nigga. You don't understand how to move with the changes in the landscape. Okay, I'm not saying accept nonsense. I'm saying you look at reality. You are the stoic individual. You are the one that needs to deal with the world as it is, not how you wish it should be, not how your great grandfather lived it. That's nonsense. You deal with the reality right here in front of you. Okay, so, and I think that we can elaborate upon that perhaps in another stream as far as, okay, now that this is the case, now that lower part of the hierarchy of needs is you don't really need a man out there, what kind of games now do you have to play? Because, yeah, it's all a game. But anyways, go ahead.
You just explained beautifully why game, wit, swag, charm, and charisma became the currency that it is. And if you don't got all of that, then you got to have an exorbitant amount of money as the form of currency. But it's turned into the point where there's no love in the middle now. Before, it was a lot of love in the middle. You're just a regular dude. You ain't got all that charm with game, swag, charisma, height, good looks, jawline, all of that. But you are a grown-ass man with a grown-ass job and can pay some grown-ass bills and get you a woman, and y'all can just live a grown-ass life with each other. That was normal back then.
You said it, Bernard. You said it.
What? I said what?
No, I'm just saying, yeah, you're saying it, right? It is one kind of description. It is a way of looking at it, right? Even though I would push back on I'm not really pushing back. I'm saying that what you're saying is a description of the landscape. But game is still bullshit, right? And yeah, any other game niggas out there that are listening to me, yeah, I said it. Game is still bullshit, okay? Because it is not the right approach, but it is the reason why it is predominant amongst the middle of the bell curve and the idiots out there. But I'm not talking to idiots.
No, I got you. I'm looking at what's happening out there. Like, to put it like this, people have argued like this. They've said that, and I think it's partially BS, but they've said that, looking at Black America, where a lot of resources are not on the men aren't bringing a lot of resources to the table, even though I'm one of the ones that I believe have led the charge in pointing out that the average white man ain't bringing that many resources either. I mean, what is 50K? So there's that. So when you look at and examine that the average man is not in a position where he can put a woman in a situation economically where he's changing her life. Like he's literally changing her lifestyle. If she's not going to get that from him, she's just going to ultimately get what she could basically get from herself, because she can go and make around 50K herself. Her basic needs are met. Police officer, firefighter, all of that stuff, everything is met. So then it just then yes, the market turns into what does she want?
Exactly, which is emotions, or I don't know, raw dogging by Pookie somewhere.
I was basically right. Yeah, whatever makes her clit tingle back and forth. That's what the market turned into, and then that's why that's the emergence and origin of game. The reason, but yeah, exactly. But the reason why it's bullshit, just to kind of say it, is because that's chaos. I agree. No, I wasn't making an argument for game. I mean, if you want anybody who listens to my show and follow what I'm saying and try to break down the logic of what I'm saying, I do want, not by force, because I don't believe in forcing people to do certain things, because we are in a free country and I want to stay in a free country, but I do want to talk about why things are the way they are. And the outcomes and results of things being the way that they are. And so if we look at if we look at the outcomes of game and swag and all of that becoming a predominant currency, a currency that's more important than just a regular guy who makes 60K and can pay some bills and be there for the kids and the family and all of that and everything. If we can look at outcomes of that, but men, it is true, and this is a tough part. Men do have to do what you said and realize the landscape has changed.
100%.
The landscape has changed, so I don't think it's a viable solution to just say, okay, men, go and make $150,000 to $200,000 a year. And then now your situation is improved. Okay, great. Yeah. Go. Just go. 100% of men go and be top 4%ers. By all means, go.
Yeah, because that's a shifting goalpost as you just described. Yeah, no matter what you do, the goalpost is going to keep shifting.
Yeah,
right. So I think it's a great topic for another stream, though. As far as what does one do with that landscape that has changed?
That's right. What we're going to that's what we're going to talk about on another stream. That's a stream. What do men do with this changing landscape? We're gonna get into that. We're gonna dig into that. I think we both agree that when you said game is bullshit, I think game. It works if your simple goal. It depends on what your goals are. if you're just a regular dude and you're just trying to accomplish the goal of increasing the probability or the quantity of you getting your penis into a vagina, having some game about yourself can increase the probability of that. But I don't think game solves all the major problems. But
and real game, right, has zero to do with women, right? Because you know how typical game nigga is like, oh, women, and then they save like 1% for like, oh, but it's really about other things too, right? You know they right, that nonsense. But in reality, real game, in other words, what I call real game is mastery of yourself, being a stoic hunter, like conquering the external world while also being able to conquer the internal world, that has zero to do with women. Women just come along as a byproduct, but along with many other things, right? And go ahead. Give me 1 second.
Oh, no, actually, man, I don't think I told you in advance. We're not doing our typical 3 hours. We're doing 2 hours because I got to go coach a basketball game at 12:30. So it'd be wise for me to end it right now. But we're going to do a part 2 of this. We got to do a part 2 of this because I feel like we just got to a good part. So we just got to a good part. I'm talking about how do men deal with this new changing landscape. So we got to call it right here. No panel today, fellas. No panels today, fellas. We're gonna call it right here, and we're gonna do. Actually, it's funny that Osama Abdu said Bernard and Ike is an emerging duo in the manosphere. I actually emailed Ike. This is little insider baseball. I emailed him about doing something along the lines of like some type of reoccurring series. I was, not quite like the Brother Pill, but just some type of reoccurring thing. I didn't know. I didn't iron out all the details, but yeah, this does feel like a series, something that needs to get continued because we just got on something good here, man. And I love your analysis, the way you break things down, the way you talk about things. You challenge me and you challenge everybody else to think a little more deeply about these topics that we're talking about. And I love with you the conversation never devolves with you. I love it. It keeps going up. But yeah, we got to call it. We got to break it off right here. Shout out to Eric the Red says, shout out to Bernard, the BR, and Ike for the Sage Conversation. I think I already read that when he says, here's my contribution to the show. Great content as usual. Respect. That $50 makes you a sponsor as well, even though I didn't get a chance to put your name right there in lights. Ace in Spades says, how is he defining game? This can get confusing. We're going to talk about that. You gotta tune in next week or whenever we do it again for that one. You got to tune in later for that one. I think there was some other super chats on the board. Let me try to I'm struggling here. Give me a second. 1 second. Oh, that ain't gonna get it. That's not gonna get it. I think I missed some super chats. I do like to catch them all, as you guys know. I do like to catch all of them, so I'm gonna pull them up through the analytics and try to see what I can find. But we was on our way to something good. Game next time, yeah. Game. Ike going in on the game, niggas. No, just playing. All right. I see Ace in Space there. He says yes. Wait, no. There I said it. Says yes, but BM black men run shit in Nigeria. Be here. No women prefer empowerment for black women over black men. The stronger sex. That was worded kind of jumbled up. I didn't really understand exactly what you're saying, but I think you were referring to Nigerian men running Nigeria. And then here it's a different dynamic. I think I understand what you were trying to say. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Okay, I see that. No, wait, no, I think I got them all. I don't see any that I missed. So yeah, we got to get up out of here. I got to go coach a basketball game, and I do have to and I will be, after I coach the basketball game, I will be on Red Sings the Blues channel at 2 p.m. I will be on Red Sings the Blues channel. Make sure y'all go over there. Ike, give us some closing statements to get us out of here. You are on mute.
Bam. Okay, now I am off mute. So I think that this was a good conversation. And as I mentioned before, it really is about a category mistake that we're talking about. A category mistake that then can lead you to have a wrong disposition towards the goldfish, because you want the goldfish to stop filtering its logic through emotions. So come out here and breathe oxygen. Don't breathe the oxygen that's diluted and filtered through the water, but it's like it's goldfish, right? It does not mean that the goldfish should not be a good goldfish and stop eating too much plankton and stop doing this and doing that and the other. Okay, so basically you cannot be upset that she's going to filter her logic through her emotions. You cannot be upset that there is selfishness that comes along with that. Emotions are selfish. You cannot be upset that it's going to be renegotiation that is going to come as a result of that as well. But basically, we will continue later on when we talk about the changing of the landscape, right? And also, what is this whole game thing and how does it relate to all this stuff? But I would like to thank you very much for having me on here, Bernard. I think it was a fruitful and productive conversation.
Yes, absolutely. And last but not least, Utopia. I've been getting a lot of support from women lately. Utopia sent a $40 cash app. She says, "For you and your beautiful woman, from me and mine." Thank you very much, Utopia. Appreciate that. And she corrected from, she said, "From me and my man, LOL." Like, you gotta go out your way to tell me you got a man. I ain't trying to get at you. But anyway, thank you, Utopia. Appreciate that. Appreciate the cash app. And I think that was it on the cash. That was only cash app today. Thank you, everybody who participated in any way, shape, or form to make this show what it was. A great show. Once again, thank you, Ike. Appreciate you. We are out of here. Peace. We doing it again. It's gonna be a series. We out of here.